do you think a team like the Bengals, do you think they'll take a step back, or where do you think the Bengals are after last year's incredible run?
So the Bengals are really, really interesting because I did a content piece on them the other day. I think there was a stat from the Football Outsiders, I think they're called, which essentially says, number one, the AFC North last season was totally banged up. I mentioned already the Ravens, you got Pittsburgh,
Mm-hmm.
Baker Mayfield was banged up, and as a result, look what's happened there. But essentially, the Bengals, all the teams that I think they faced the most injured teams
Mm-hmm.
throughout their season. And luckily for them, they pretty much managed to stay healthy. Obviously, Joe Burrow is coming off that horrific injury that he had. And you pair him with someone like Jamar Chase, they've pretty much transformed that franchise with that. And you can see that. I mean, they have. I think I've seen it pretty much everywhere. They've been rated as the top wide receiver core in the league with
Mm-hmm.
Jamar Chase. I forget who the other.
T. Higgins.
T. Higgins. That's one.
Yeah.
Tyler Boyd.
Yeah.
Um, they have a great receiving core. So you look at what they've been able to do, pretty much make it all the way to the Super Bowl, but they've had a lot of luck. And don't get me wrong, it's the NFL. You need luck to swing your way quite a lot of the time, and it does happen. But for them to face the most injured teams throughout their run to the Super Bowl, whilst they managed to stay fit. And don't get me wrong, that's not their fault. If other teams are hurt and injured, it's not their fault. You can only play who's in front of you. But for that to be their record, I'm not so sure that repeats itself because that's just not a stat that happens year on year. The Ravens aren't going to be as injured as they were having to sign guys like Devontae Freeman and Le'Veon Bell. That's not going to be the case this season. So personally, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure they'll be as good as they were last season. I definitely don't think they'll make it back to the Super Bowl. I know they've reinforced their offensive line because you can't be getting sacked 9 times in a game,
Mm-hmm.
albeit they did win against the Titans. But I do think, they had quite a bit of luck, and I don't think that luck continues into next season for them.
Yeah, and I think the Bengals make the playoffs this year, but I think they take a bit of a step back. And I know this isn't huge, but recently, Joe Burrow had his appendix taken out, right? And I think that's
Yeah,
going to serve a little bit of a because he's not going to be able to throw for another week or two, so that's going to hurt. And then I don't think, like I said, and the AFC just got better in the offseason, right? So I can't
yeah,
see the Bengals going all the way they did. Now, they did look very impressive, especially beating the Chiefs twice in the regular season and in the postseason. But, if the Chiefs kick a field goal at the end of the first half, they probably win. But
yeah.
I do like the Bengals a lot. I think they have a great team with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and they have a good running back in Joe Mixon, and their defense got better. Their offensive line helping. Of course, you have Joe Burrow, who's going to get a big contract next season probably. But I just think they're gonna I think they're gonna take a bit of a step back. I think I have the Ravens winning the division if they can stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Pittsburgh's going to look like because I don't know if their offense is as good. Their defense is stacked. I think their secondary is a little weak, but their defense is definitely with T.J. Watt and Cameron Hayward, right? But I just don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. And the Browns, of course, with the whole Deshaun
Mm-hmm.
Watson, as we just talked about. So I think the Ravens do win the division. I think the Bengals make the playoffs, but after that, I can't see another team in the AFC North winning. Thanks for listening to the Sports Town Podcast, or the STP Pod for short. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and much more. Also, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Sports Town Podcast. If you want to check out more videos of the Sports Town Podcast, click on the right.